Hi, and welcome to the podcast Room for Her. Today we're meeting with the beautiful Anna Maria Moro, who is a personal coach for women in business and the author of Becoming You. Hi, Anna.
Hi, Victoria. Thank you for having me here. First of all, I'm really honored to be here as a guest speaker, and hello to everyone that's listening and watching this today.
Thank you for taking the time to join us. Today we're going to focus on becoming you. We've had a little chat before today's interview. And a couple of weeks ago, I was a guest speaker at an event, an empowerment event for women. And I actually did a talk on becoming you. But you have written a book on becoming you. So let's hear a little bit about that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Victoria. I did. I wrote a book about 2 years ago, called Becoming You. And I wrote it right at the end of 2023. So now it's about 3 years, actually. And it was right at the point where everything shifted for me. And so I said, I have to share this with other women. I have to share my journey so that they know somebody else came out on the other side. And I spent the whole time of Christmas when I was with my family, but I would get up really early and just finish the pieces. And the 30th of December, I published it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was a new year for you, that then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really great.
Can I ask you, when you say becoming you, because it has a different meaning for everybody, but when you say becoming you, what does that mean to you on a soul level?
Yeah. Yeah, on a soul level. So becoming you, when I wrote that, it's because I finally clicked with myself. Like I finally got it that I just have to accept who I am. I guess the bad, the good, the weird, the fun, like all those kind of knick-knack kind of little stuff, quirky stuff that we all have, but the good. So I found that I was tending not to accept that part, right? That part of like, oh, that might be weird. And so I finally just accepted me as a whole, really accepting that. And for me, that was stepping into that becoming me. And when I accepted that part and just said that I love every part of this Anna, not just the part when she's funny and everything's going well, but that side too, then everything started to change.
Not an easy process, is it? It can be a long and tiring journey. Yeah. What made you do it? What was the turning point where you just kind of said, right, this is who I am and I want something different to happen?
Well, when I was writing the book, I felt like that moment had already clicked for me at that point. I just had to share it, like right fresh. I just started to write. And then at the end, like I got to the end, like literally it just poured out. But prior to that, there's the part before that clicking, that there's like a resistance of fighting, a bit of a challenge, right? To figure out what that is.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the challenge in there was finding that. But what kept me going was the idea that there's got to be something better. There's got to be more of me. There's got to be, I don't know what that is, but just kept on going, kind of like walking in a continuous, like dark room. But I knew there had to be something on the other side. So it really started like 6, 7 years ago when at that time it was the worst time of my life where I was like heavy in debt. My husband just got admitted to AA. We had discovered a few things were happening. My kids were younger at that time. I have 3 kids. They were all at that time under the age of 15 and, dogs going around and it was just crazy. And I was like working these 3 part-time jobs that were like not covering it at all. So I originally came out of like cooking. I graduated from hotel restaurant management. So completely different thing. And it was just one night, literally on my kitchen table. I'm like, this cannot be. This cannot be. And I was literally like hiccup crying. I had the kids sleeping and I know they probably heard me, but no one's going to come out there. And that's what I found then. I said to myself, no one's going to come and save me. No one's going to change this for me.
I hear you. I hear you.
And I swear, I don't know that night if there was like a whisper of an energy. I don't know your viewers out there who's watching, like there's something bigger than us. Now, whatever you want to call it, energy, universe, God, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but there's something bigger, something like a silence, like still. And then that clicked to me. I don't know what happened, but I said, no one's going to come save me. I said, and I literally like, wiped my tears. I'm like, it's enough. I've got to do something. I don't know what that is, but I am committing to that something. It's going to change. And I just started walking the path of investigating myself. I said, I'm going to save you, but that's it. Something's wrong with you. Like something's going on with you. And so I took the time the next month to really like track myself. I tracked myself and I said,
Okay.
what? Like, you never say anything. You're always in a corner. You're always like quiet. Why don't you express yourself? And I started to, instead of being in the back of the room per se, started involving myself in conversations, like not just going with it if I didn't feel with it. I started saying no. And that was the challenging part there because the people around me were used to me as just whatever. Anna's there. Anna can do this. And this is acceptable and accepting that. And it didn't work like that anymore because I'm like, today, that's not, no, not available
Oh,
today. Or,
powerful word. No. No.
and it
There's
was the
nothing in that.
hardest thing. It was the hardest thing because then the guilt trip, am I a bad mom? Am I doing this wrong? Am I hurting someone? Is someone going to get offended? But I have to say, moving forward in that journey of discovering who I was, that it allowed and gave permission to my kids to step up, to step up. The people around me started taking ownership in their own lives.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's something I teach ladies who I work with, definitely. In fact, I was working on something last night because I want to accept, or the moment that you choose yourself, in that instance, something switches, doesn't it? Completely switches, and it's like, no. And no, you don't have to explain, you don't have to attach anything. It's just like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. It's interesting that you talk about the silence as well, because the silence is also massive to me. And I'm sure many women who are listening, when you go into the silent moment, when you reach that space, there's nothing there. But this, isn't it? I don't feel like you can call it anything but silence. Just this emptiness, this nothingness that isn't empty and it's full, and that's where everything becomes. Women find that point and they're not in a good place either. It's usually when they've hit rock bottom and think, where am I going from here? I can't possibly go down any further. The only way is up. I'm going to ask you here, why do you think women lose themselves and not realize that it's happened?
Thinking about my own journey, I honestly believe that a lot of women have the signs. I had the signs. I mentioned Oprah Winfrey talks a lot about listen to the whisper or else you get a brick in your head. And I got the brick in my head. But when I was out of it, I was looking back at like, what happened? Was it like, how did I lose myself in all this? And the whispers were there just in the moment. Some of those whispers don't actually look like what we expect they're supposed to look like. And we don't
Absolutely.
catch on it and just ignore it and move forward. So I got the signs. I just didn't take it seriously. I was like, yeah, I know. And then I don't listen to my gut and I start listening to everybody else, everything else, because that's how I lost myself because I wasn't looking for the answer within me. Because when you're talking about that silence, I call it the dark room, that moment, that was the moment I sat with myself. I never did that. And I was 38, 39. So like I wouldn't say for 15 years, right? Like after the teenage, like 20-ish, I got married very young. So I never sat with myself. And so everything that I doubted, anything that was happening, or I would just get the answer from someone else, not even thinking if it was the right person but that was the thing, was someone else's idea. It was someone else's suggestion. It didn't come from me, even though I felt something. I'm like, okay, I'll just go with it and go with that. So I lost myself by just following everything and everybody else instead of listening to me. And then unnecessarily you hit rock bottom because I say to myself, I didn't have to get to that point. I really didn't have to. And that's why I wrote the book and I'm sharing my message because if I can stop someone halfway or even in the beginning, it's better than rock bottom. Yeah, just lose yourself from not listening to yourself. Sure. Yeah, like you, Victoria, and other women, they all come to that point of that silence, the dark room. They listen to themselves and things flip. And prior to that, it's not happening. Everything that has happened in the past is the sum of where I am. So I'm grateful for it. It wouldn't be any other way. I wouldn't be here today. That didn't happen that way.
That's also something that's key, being grateful for the lessons that we've learned prior to who we are today, because there's a journey, isn't there, Anna, that we must follow. But we do get lost, especially when we are chasing other people's idea of who we are.
Mhm.
We want to be the best daughter. We want to be the best friend. We want to be the grade A student. Did it lead to a burnout for you? Is that how you felt when you sat in the kitchen that day? Was
Thinking back, it wasn't a burnout. It was more of a fed up because I knew that I didn't have the energy to do things. I had the energy. I was just like, what am I doing wrong? Right. So it wasn't like, it was more of a breakdown of like, okay, something, that's it. Like, this cannot go on. So for me, it was like a fed up, like, okay, that's it. Um, so that happened that night. There was more of like, okay, I know there's more in me, and it's just I'm not putting it in the right place. Like, this is, things got to change. That's something. Something's got to change. Something's got to change. So it wasn't burnout for me. It was just more like fed up.
what happened next?
Yeah. So what happened next was, like I said, a month after that, just tracking myself.
Yeah.
And then I decided online, searching a few things, did some really great programs to help work on me. And so words like that, like burnout or, mindsets, and those words like limiting beliefs, I didn't know what those were and how to attach it to my daily routine or my thinking process. I never really thought that I could actually control my own thoughts and things that are happening like within, and that I was actually the cause of a lot of things because I was ignoring it or I wasn't happy with it. So then I would spark up like a temper moment. So after that, I walked this journey of self-development, and then I fell into coaching because I wanted to share my message with other women. So turn my mess into a message. That's what I did. And I went into coaching, helping other women.
Mess into a message. That's great.
Yeah,
That's great. That's a different take on step into your power. I love that. That's new to me.
yeah.
So when you had that moment and you start doing the tracking and you started building the business, you've done amazingly well. You have built a six-figure big business, and it sees you traveling the world, because trying to track you down, I never know which part of the world. Where are you now? Where are you today? Canada, Germany, Italy?
Oh, I know I'm in Italy.
You're in Italy.
Actually, a week ago, I was in Canada, and then we stopped off at Germany for a bit. But yeah, it's been, it's one of the things that I always wanted to do, to travel, because I have a lot of my family still in Canada and other parts. It's just that availability and freedom to, like, my sister had her birthday, a 50th birthday, and so I'm like, I'm going. And before I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that financially, but it was a lot of mindset. It was a lot of me, um, keeping me in a small place. So I've been able to go to a lot of places and just be at the moments that were important, because that's what was important to me. I felt like I was just out on my life, and everyone has their own success meanings, but for me is, my daughter has a soccer game, I'm going. And before I couldn't, and I didn't. And I would call up people, or their car would break down, and it's calling people, finding people to go get them. Now it's like they just call me and I go do that, or I'm at home. So sometimes my daughter with soccer, she needs certain meals done at a certain time, and it's like I'm there. And those are the moments, because they get big, they go, and they're not home anymore, right? I wanted to be there in those moments where a lot of their lives I wasn't. Like, all the Christmases, I wasn't there. They would actually come to the restaurant and we would hug each other and be like, Happy New Year, or whatever the occasion was, because I would work in a high tourist area. So it's just, they would call you on all the holidays, and it was just, that's what it was.
Hard, isn't it? It's difficult. There's a balance, isn't there, that you try to have, and sometimes women just don't get that. Oh, well, parents in general, depending on the job, their chosen career, they don't get that option. They have to work, they have to pull the money in, they have to be there, and they do miss out on their kids. And Christmas in our house is all about the kids. But there have been times in the past where I've been on call and I've been called out and just had to leave. It's just hard. You get stuck, don't you? Like, oh, I want the job, but I want to be the best mum possible. Things are good now. Things are good for you. You've clearly made your life exactly how you want to be. And that in itself is a good example to your children, isn't it? You've made it to the role model. You're able to say to your kids, hey, this is how it might have to be for a while, but this is where you get to later on. It's a good message, that. Was that the hardest part of becoming your motherhood, or was it something else?
Believe it in general, like as a woman, as a mom, the roles that we have, like the daughter, the sister, the friend, it was really the part was hardest for me is finding my own truth. It's okay with me. So when you touched upon that, like my kids now, because I still say missing out on the Christmases, but what was really bothering me in that was I didn't choose. It was because I was in a job that I didn't like in the first place, and I couldn't choose. It wasn't my choice. It was at the end. I could have not gone and lost the job, but then you're tied to it. It's like you're already not making it, so you got to make some sort of money, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I wasn't in control of my calendar. And so the example that I'm sharing with my kids that changing the what was ingrained in me is like, if you do miss one of those days, you are the worst. Instead of it's in our family now, it could happen because it can. And it's a different culture now. It's a different mentality, as in it's okay. Like if I know there's an important day that for some reason that I cannot be there or whatever is going to happen, or we do it before, we do it after, and that's okay. That you're still present as a mom in the other days. It's not just that day.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah.
So that was the issue with me. It was like that I felt like everyone was telling me what to do. And so taking that back and then is like, okay, we're doing Christmas or we're not, or we're doing another day, or because they have to take ownership too, my kids. They have to learn as well that they're going to have to say those hard yeses and hard nos at times. And it's okay as well, as long as it's not someone else that's choosing for you, that you're choosing you and you're fully responsible and know that you're stepping into that, you're taking ownership in it. And I wasn't. I wasn't. So yeah, at that time I felt like I wasn't lifting up to like or filling in the role of a mom. But I think the role right now for me, what I believe now is that ownership of who I became, owning that. And it's okay that in our family, we don't follow maybe the whole calendar thing, right? We're there for each other. And we're there, like, if it's not the 24th, it's the 25th. If it's not the 25th, it's the 20th. But we make it our special day. Like, we don't want to miss out on our day.
Yeah, that's right. My children have their own children. So we do things like that. Like, okay, so we can't do it on the 25th, but let's make some time around then and we'll get together, or we'll do it in two parts because, not everybody can make it on the same day. So, yeah, yeah, it's adapting, isn't it, along the journey? Always adapting, always making it right for you, always allowing your children to know that even if you've got to go to work, and a lot of women are not going to have that choice, like you say, they're not going to have that choice to say, I'm not doing that job anymore, because their choice is to do that job. You think about people who, well, you think about police officers, anybody working in the NHS
Yeah.
or even the services, that's their choice, that's who they want to be. But to make it work, yeah, that happened. So, do you think there's a turning point when we know the difference between who we are and who we've been conditioned to be?
Mm. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of the times that point is when you hit like a rock bottom or something that's like drastic. Because for me was when we found out my husband was drinking, doing the things, he had sold so many things I didn't notice, or maybe looking back, there was some signs I just whatever, it's like, okay, I'm thinking, I'm not thinking it. And then it happens. So then when you go through that journey and you're finding yourself, you're picking up the pieces, exploring things, experimenting things. I think it's just one at the moment for me was like, I'm just gonna stop fighting it,
Yeah,
accept it.
yeah, that again, good advice that. Absolutely bang on the money, darling.
Okay.
Can I ask you about your husband and what it was like to go through um what you did with him? He went
Yeah.
he went to AA.
Yeah.
And that, if I remember rightly, is around the turning point that everything switched up for you, wasn't it? Because he'd been the main breadwinner, as we say. And when he made it to A, which is great, that's a great step in the right direction. Hats off to him for even doing that, because a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't make it there, do they? They just carry on and it's left to the people around them to pick up.
Yeah.
But he did something about that.
Mhm.
Do you think that influenced you to do something about you?
It did. Well, he's still currently in the program, but not, he's still on his journey, which is great. He's done really amazing. And he's a point of reference now. He goes every Wednesday. And so they're waiting for him. He's like a leader. So it's really good. It's really good. He's done such a great job and such a great journey. I'm not sure if that point I understood to really everything that I'm thinking of now, like the mindset and all the work, but I knew something had to change. That's all came down to. I was like, this cannot be because that's not going, that's not going, that's not going, that's not going, that's not going. And I'm involved in all these situations. So I said, there's something there's got to be something that someone's got to change. And it's going to be me. Since I'm involved in all the situations in some shape or form. Um, at that point, I just wanted to take responsibility. I said, I'm not going to wait for anybody anymore. I'm just going to do it. Um, yeah, but the journey really helped. It helped because I walked alongside him. I went to the sessions as well for a long time, for years. So you discover a lot of things about yourself. It's not really about the person, then it becomes also yourself. Very self-aimed. What you can bring to the session is, yeah, it was, I guess looking back now, it was one of those it was probably the turning point of like a wake-up call.
Yeah, I can imagine that it was. What I'm hearing, Anna, is it's it's the story that I've heard so many times. It's I hit rock bottom or something had to change. I started doing the inner work.
Hmm.
What I hear mainly is exactly what you've just said: personal responsibility, acceptance. There's only me that can change this, because quite often we're seeking external validation, seeking external strength. We want to be again, the best version for others, not ourselves.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think you've done amazingly well. Thank you so much for being here today and being so honest.
Sorry, for having me here. And if I can just add one thing on this last note, there's one important piece that, yes, looking in myself, but I have to admit that I didn't do it on my own. Like at the end, I have to do it on my own. The decision ends up becoming my own, and I took those decisions in actions. But I always had someone in my corner. The difference was before I was asking like relatives and my aunts that were like 80 and they had a whole different mentality that I was understanding that I was conditioned for a certain way, not because it's bad or anything, but things have changed and we can approach our lives and do things differently. And so I found someone that walked the path before me and she helped me out. There was no way, shape, and form that I could have put this all together and figure it out. I knew something was there. I just didn't know how to put a word to it, a meaning to it. I didn't understand. So even going back with my husband, that he did it but he didn't do it alone either. He had to take the decision, and he shows up every Wednesday. No one's going to push him and do that. However, he had the right guidance, the right coach that walked through the path and is helping everyone else too. So that's the same thing. I think that was one of the biggest things along the journey, was having that mentor in the corner that could see the things for me that I couldn't word it, like verbalize it, articulate what was going on. I just wanted to add that as well, because it is good to ask for help, because
Absolutely.
I was always told to figure it out on your own. And to a certain point, it is always our decision, always, always. But you don't have to figure it out on your own. You don't, you just have to find the right person for what you're looking for, right? Like, you don't want to ask for mindset advice to a plumber. It's not going to work, right? And often we find asking our friends that are great, our friends are beautiful and lovely and they support us, but maybe have no idea of that. Or maybe they're stuck in it, and then it becomes a group of, I found that too. I would just whine with all my friends, and we were like, that sucks, and life sucks, and that person's like that. And then you find yourself in that in that group of like, we're all like, life sucks.
That's
Right?
it.
Each other. It's like, yeah, life sucks, and this is the way it's supposed to be. Um, and so I got myself out of that and started putting myself in communities and places where it was more uplifting. Like, yeah, this has happened, but we can do this, and this is better, and this, we can try this and try that. It was a different support than, just agreeing that life sucks. It's not
Yeah.
like that. So I was just suggesting to your viewers and to your listeners that ask for the help. Just be mindful of who you're asking for. If they're supporting the part where you want to be empowered or disempowered. We want
Well, what I'm thinking here is, how many of your friends came on that journey with you? Did they support you? Did you lose some of them? Because,
yeah.
you know, I've had friends who are not here with me now, not supporting me because they can't make that shift. They can't. And then, there are some women who were not my friends, but I was very close to,
Yeah.
who just completely turned on me. It's like, who do you think you are? It's like, what do you mean, who do you think I am? I'm me. I'm here. I want to help women. I want to help myself. I'm doing this. So what's going on there? What happened for you?
Yeah. Well, the friends that I have are not there. They're not. Like, if we see each other, we hug each other. Hey, when I went to Canada, we tried to group, but I had a lot of family endeavors, and so we didn't meet, but we talked. However, some didn't follow, I haven't heard from them for years, and some of them I stepped away from. And that's one of the hardest things, because or you stay in that environment, or you step out and find yourself and do the things that you know that you need to do for yourself. Unfortunately, you may lose some people along the way.
And this is where I was hoping you'd go with it, because right at the beginning, I said becoming you can be very, very difficult. It's challenging, isn't it? But when you're facing, let's say, your shadow self, or you're facing things that you've not liked or accepted about you
Mm.
in the past, and you're becoming self-aware and more self-aware, and you're going through the layers, the last thing you need is to feel isolated and alone, isn't it? And when you're losing people along the way, I think it heightens that thought, that emotion. I really am on my own. I'm different. There's something wrong with me. And I think that's a really important point to speak about, because
Mhm.
women, this is exactly what Room for Her is all about. We got there. We don't want women to feel on their own, do we, Anna? We want them to be connected. We want them to know that it's okay to accept yourself. It's okay to choose yourself over everything else, because that's the part that makes you become. But it isn't easy, is it?
You know, it's challenging, that point, but for me, this was for me. I wanted the control of the choice for me. Not to like
Yeah.
control freak, not that, but everyone else was always saying, and I would just agree with it. That was on me, right? I would always just agree with what to be said, what to do. If it was whatever job, I just accepted everything. So at that time, when I was like with my group of friends and was mentioning these things, I had to make a decision because if that was the path I want to take, which was
Yeah.
more empowerment, being an example for my kids, changing my routine. And there what they weren't up with it, but there was never really an up discussion. It just unfolded. It just kind of fell for me. You know, what like a call a day became twice a week. From twice a week it was, you know, and it just went the separate ways. It went the separate ways. Because then I started saying, "Hey, you want to go out for the coffee?" But I knew when we would go out for coffee, everyone was like slugging over the news, life sucks, my husband's this, or da da da. And so I said, "I'm not going out tonight." "Oh, you're not, oh, I'm not available." You know, I wouldn't say I don't want to hang out with you. I'm just like, no, I'm just tonight. you know, I'm going out with kids or something else, you know, or I'm just staying home.
Down to choice again, choosing a life that makes you feel good, makes you feel fulfilled, makes you feel at peace, and it just shifts your alignment, your energy just shifts, doesn't it? And you sit in a room with 20 women who are positive and who want this for you and want to come on your journey. You sit in a room full of women who are all that negative stuff that it's all about choice. Every step of the way on becoming you, for me, it is about making the right choice for you. That's it. And I hear you. I can hear just that you've been so determined. It's like, no, this is me. This is who I want to be. And here we have Anna, just Anna, doing a fantastic job.
Actions, Victoria, actions have to follow what we say.
Absolutely. Definitely. Yeah.
Not
Yeah. You can't say I want to do it. If you don't change anything, nothing changes.
changes. And I
Every,
know it's so easy to say. I know we've heard it. We've heard it time and time again. Probably your viewers that are watching and listening, you guys probably heard it. You know, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. And then you get into the mindset, I'm going to do it. And then when you go and actually do it, it's like, wow, this is not actually what I thought of. This is harder than what it is. Because the hardest part is letting go. Letting go of, well, I never woke up before. I would never get up before like 8 o'clock in the morning. That's not going to happen. And so it's like, now I got to change because I want to fit my morning routine. It's going to change. So it's like deciding and then doing it. It's like, ooh, the deciding and doing is kind of like, you know, it's like letting go. It's like, ah, so it's the letting go of old habits, routines, and
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
that's the challenge.
It really is. That's the challenge. And what eventually happens is you get through that part, the challenging part, and everything's better. You feel better, life is better, everything's great. You, Anna.
Yeah, Victoria. Yeah, exactly. Like we talked a lot about the challenge, but I do want to share with your viewers exactly that. If we're here today and talking about this, is because the other side is way better than
Absolutely.
like literally, again, those old friends, like I see them, we hug each other and all that, and all the things that I went through, I would go through it again if this I knew exactly is what was going to be the outcome. Because everything you want is on the other side of that doubt. I don't know, uncertainty, maybe it's all waiting there because what I know is if I continue like that, it would probably get worse, stay the same for sure, and even worse. But what's happening now is completely like a dream come true and more is to come. Like I know more is going to happen.
It does. It does. When you get there, things start opening up. You're in a better place. You get more opportunities. You get to travel, just like you said. And this time, you're taking your kids with you. You don't have to leave your kids behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know that's really important.
That's
But I'm going to ask you one final question in your own words. What does it really mean, to create room for her while you're still becoming? Because there's going to be listeners who are not at the same point as you in life, that they're still becoming.
Yeah. Listen to yourself, listen to your gut, never lies. If you're getting a nudge that something's off and you don't feel good with that, or and you want to try something, go for it. What I have found was, which I thought when I was going through it, is that I'll be ready when it comes. I'm ready. I'm just gonna get ready for it. It actually works the other way around. You have to step into that person that you're imagining. That Anna, like I've already seen this, like my six-figure self, my coaching business, like helping over 100 women, all these beautiful things, being on the podcast with Victoria. I already saw that, and I accepted it before. And so you have to believe that, if it's a Jane watching, a Cheryl, who's watching out there, you know, Patricia, all of you beautiful women out there that are listening and watching, that you have to allow that space to happen because it's there. But you just got to jump into it before saying, I'm going to be ready. So while you're walking the path, know that your decision, your actions will match, but you have to give the grace of making it happen. And what it's going to look like is this, just one little sneak peek, because I wish I knew this before. The things we're looking for, we're thinking it's going to be like a Walt Disney movie, something like,
Yeah,
right? And
you're
it's
a fairy tale.
not. The opportunities are they're so simple, so even silly at times. I'll give you an example. I used to say, I wish I had more time with my kids. And then all of a sudden it's like their soccer thing got canceled or whatever. And we're in the car going, doing groceries. But I'm thinking more like being on the beach and like enjoying
Yep,
something like that.
yep.
And then I'm thinking to myself, is this what I at? This is what it is. It's the time to sit in the car and get those groceries, and it's just me and them. And so I started to realize the things we ask for, like more money, or I want more health, or I want more this. Just be more aware if that what you're asking for is showing up in a way that you're not expecting it. So just be open and aware and look around, because I guarantee the opportunities are there. They're just not there in a Walt Disney movie.
You know what you just reminded me of? When I was divorcing the kid's dad, I was like in this space where I thought, no one's ever going to love me again. I'm not lovable. You get there, don't you? You get over it. I was like, okay, I really want to see the sunset with somebody who I love. And I took the kids to Malta. And like the next minute, we're going out to dinner and we're sat there. In fact, my girl was only little. She was having her hair braided. And I'd literally said about a week before, I want to see the sunset with somebody I love. And there we are, sat on the beachfront, getting ready to go to dinner while my daughter's having a hair braided. The sun sets, I thought, there's something to this. I get it, yeah. And yeah. Wow. Well, thank you for that. That's a beautiful memory. Thank you very much, Anna. We're going to end it here. It's great. It's great to see you. It's great to have you on the podcast. And I look forward to watching your travels.
Exactly. Thank you
You're
so
very
much.
welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you, Victoria, for having me here. It has been an honor, and thank you for the viewers and who's watching later on. Appreciate all of you, and you're fantastic, Victoria. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for women, creating this space to share this message. That's the most important thing, that we help women, we stick together, and we walk this path together, knowing that there are women out there in spaces like you, Victoria, that you're creating the space for women to listen to watch, and that they're not alone.
Absolutely. I'll give you a cyber high five there, girl. Thank you. Thank you.